This is tung oil. Oil finishes are very forgiving. As long as you do your sanding really well, you can screw up your board with a belt buckle when you slide across it, having too much fun on a Friday night. And the next day you can sand it out with oil, and you can make it blend with an oil finish. Whereas with a hard finish that is like a poly finish, you got to redo the whole table again, really. I don't think you can do just a little spot. I may be wrong. I maybe get some corrections about that, and I'm willing to learn. But I like a lot of different finishes. For violins, I like shellac. This joint right here is one of, I think, the most intimidating that kept me from building this for the longest time, maybe 5 years. I admired it before I undertook it. And I have come to know that it is an easy joint to make. So all I do is, once I've established this angle, is I just mark the width of my board with a ink pen, a nice fine point, and then that gives me guidelines to hollow out this portion on this board. And what I do with that is, first I'll hit it with a Japanese pull saw and get that line nice and fine so that you're as accurate as you can possibly get. And then I'll come in with a skill saw with 2 blades on it. Sounds weird, but I put 2 blades on a skill saw, and it hogs out twice as much as the regular skill saw. And then I just hug that out until I can get into it with the chisel and just knock it out, just almost without a hammer, just pushing it out. And I do that on this side, and I do that on the other side, and then the other side. And this part, I just cut with a bandsaw. I just lay it on there, mark where it has to be, and cut it out with the bandsaw. And on the bandsaw, sometimes I'll cut sideways with the bandsaw. So let's go to the bandsaw. I'll show you. So what I mean by cutting sideways is you don't have to just cut this direction with the bandsaw. You can cut this direction. And that's kind of like nibbling. So what I'll do is I'll have the bandsaw running, and I'll move my board back and forth really fast, and I keep an eye on my mark. And when I get close to my mark, I slow down, and I just drag it one last time. And it nibbles out really well, especially if you have the 2 edges that you've cut first with this, and then come in and take it diagonally both ways first, and then you can just kind of nibble this down a little bit. And sometimes you can nibble it down and then just get where you've nibbled and just cut it the rest of the way. This piece also came out of the San Francisco store. It's a plywood shell. I built it before we did any veneer work, before I did any veneer work. I say we, me, myself, and I. So I put this veneer on with crazy glue. And I used the thick crazy glue. It's cyanoacrylate. And the trick to using it, I have found, is make your pieces a little oversized. This is veneer that's wood-backed veneer, and I like wood-backed veneer because it doesn't telescope glue discrepancies underneath, if you make any. And so what I do is I put on about 6 inches worth of this glue with gravity, say up here, let gravity help hold this stuff together. And I make sure that it's coated real heavy. And then I push the veneer down, and then I pull it back up because it's not tacky right away. And I see how much adhesion I had. And then I wiggle it, get as much adhesion as I can, and then I peel it back and I spray this part with activator. And that gives me about 1 second to put this in position and hold it down. So that's risky. You could screw up your veneer, you could just get your thumb in the wrong place and get stuck to it. So I wear gloves, and main thing is to position it so that it's long enough so that when you get down to that end, you didn't position it at an angle and now your veneer's running off the edge. So make it wide enough if you're going to do this process so that if you're off a little bit of angle, it's forgiving at the other end. make it big enough so that you can trim it with a router when you get done with a flush cut bit, and tape this off first with blue tape so if your router bearing goes out, you don't destroy this. And watch carefully that your router bearing doesn't go out. That is the main killer for this work is your router bearing, because believe me, that's what killed mine a couple of times. So I made a bigger brother of this one. All of this is done with that birch veneer that's manufactured to look like Madagascar ebony or Avidar or just about any wood. Man, they really have it down, and it looks really nice. It's not just painted on. It goes all the way through. So its bigger brother was 8 feet long. It sold for almost $10,000 in San Francisco store. And this one I have about half as much time in, so this one will sell for about half of that, I think. On this, what I have to do is start off with a piece that's thick enough so that I can get this curve. So bottom of the piece could be here, and top of the piece has to be at least this thick. So I'm starting off with at least 2 1/4, probably easier 2 1/2, and I have plenty of that. Just mainly needs to be not split anywhere. Can have defects, but not preferably in the places I'm going to drill all the way through. So one of the things that I have to maintain is this footprint, because stools can turn over, and this one really doesn't have a very big footprint to begin with. And so I have to make sure that this stays well out away from that. You can see that this is out there. It's not in line. And that's on purpose, because these are in just a little bit. So on the next set, since this is a prototype, probably what I'll do is I'll kick these back just maybe another inch, keep them in line with this. And this one I want to make sure that I stay out, really out, because this is the front. This is a 3-legged stool, and this is the front. I might even put a little place to rest your feet on this, according to if the customer wants. I have some stainless steel that I can drill through here and put in there, and it'll look real nice. And so we'll see. I'm waiting for height requirements for the known measurement from here to the bottom of the bench. Needs to be about 10 inches so that you can accommodate yourself when you're sitting there and not feel like you're choked up by too high or too short.